My name is George Murkison, and I'm a student in the Purdue Masters of Public Health program. We're going to focus on ecological factors, focusing on safe sex practices in adolescence. The definition of adolescence. Adolescence is a period following the onset of puberty during which a young person develops from a child into an adult, and their development is influenced by themselves, family, peers, teachers, and other factors that comprise their social and structural environment. There's increased independence and experimentation with establishment or new behaviors. Adolescents' vulnerability to sexually transmitted diseases. While adolescents described between the ages of 15 and 24 years old comprise about 25% of the U.S. population, they account for almost 50% of the reported sexually transmitted diseases. In 2017, almost two-thirds of all reported chlamydia cases were among persons aged 15 to 24 years old. Notice that the viral STIs such as herpes and HPV are not on the list. All of the bacterial infections that are on the list are on the increase. I wanted to touch on the social cognitive theory because of Albert Bandura's inclusion of environmental factors in the triad and the fact that the influence is bidirectional with environmental factors and the individual. I believe that the current ecological models are derivatives of Bandura's triadic reciprocal determinism. First, we're going to discuss Bronfenbrenner's ecological model of child development. We have the microsystem, the adolescent's immediate environment, including family, friends, and classmates, the mesosystem, the interaction of the microsystem environments, exosystem, environmental and mental factors that influences adolescent development indirectly, such as familial relations with the adolescent's peers, and macrosystem, cultural customs, laws, and values. The structural model of health behavior. There's four categories of environmental factors: availability and accessibility. This can lead to good or bad outcomes, alcohol versus condoms, for example. Physical structures, again, this may represent positive or negative circumstances. As for social structures, Cohen mentioned mandatory seatbelt laws. Cell phone laws while driving could also be put in that category. And media effects, advertisements or internet posts disseminating positive health behaviors, voting or safe sex, or negative such as fast food ads or other things. The behavioral ecological model is based on positive and negative reinforcement constructs of operant conditioning proposed by B.F. Skinner. Meta-contingencies are group-based reinforcements for collective behavior within a community. Other ecological theories include the minority stress theory, which relies on proximal and distal influences to understand how minority status may result in poor health outcomes, and intersectionality, which is a term created by Kimberly Crenshaw to describe how the environment can affect an individual that can be described as being from more than one minority status type, such as African American and gay. The precede, proceed are acronyms that describe how public health workers would design a program or intervention. Precede concerns the actual program research and design, while proceed deals with the implementation, evaluation, and interventions that were structured for specific health concern. Ecological factors associated with adolescent pregnancy and parenting. In this article, the macrosystem variables were social economic status and race, mesosystem variables, educational goals, family structure and family functioning, and microsystem variables, age, self-esteem, stress, alcohol, or drug use. The macrosystem results include socioeconomic status. If they were of low socioeconomic status, this has been found to be a significant factor contributing to adolescent pregnancy and childbearing. Also, ethnicity and race. Hispanics and African Americans were most likely to become from a low SES household, which will increase the likelihood of having a child during adolescence. Mesosystem, poor performance in school increases the risk for premature pregnancy. The family structure includes a two-parent household versus one, monitoring of children, religion, and peers. All these favor non-parenting adolescents. As for microsystem, age, slightly older the adolescents were, the more likely to be pregnant. Self-esteem, stress, and coping strategies may help in this regard. In this study, less alcohol consumption was reported by parenting teens. There may be several reasons for that. Maybe less money, for example, to buy alcohol. Or maybe they wanted to take care of the children better. Okay, Bronfenbrenner's ecological approach was used. Minority stress theory and intersectionality can also be viewed as ecological constructs for this study. The next study that I'll discuss is multi-level predictors of inconsistent condom use among adolescent mothers. This sample included 632 adolescent mothers that recently gave birth. The dependent variable question was, how often do you use condoms when you have sexual intercourse? Responses ranged from never, sometimes, about half the time, most of the times, and always. Here we have an adaptation of Bronfenbrenner's ecological model that was used in the study. Individual factors included age, education, and gravidity. The independent variables included dyad factors, which included living arrangement, domestic violence, sexual coercion, and partner's refusal to wear a condom. Family items included overall support like financial, emotional, child caring, and transportation support. Questions concerning family, verbal, and physical abuse were asked. The social system queries included violence witnessed, personal weapons carrying, or fear of attack by others. The results of this study, condom use behavior, sometimes and never use, at 6 months was the strongest predictor of never using condoms at 12 months, but was not a significant predictor for those who sometimes used condoms. Young mothers who always used condoms at 6 months continued to do so at 12 months after delivery, and mothers who used condoms sometimes decreased their condom use to the point of never using them by 12 months after delivery. In a 2005 study by East and others, participants were derived from a sample of approximately 1,600 11 to 17-year-olds. Analysis first addressed whether Latino and non-Latino youth differed in their sexual and contraceptive behaviors. The young males used condoms at a high rate of 79% during inception of sex. They consistently used condoms. 81% reported condom use during their last sexual encounter. These three factors were associated with consistent birth control use among Latinos that were in the study. Frequent parent-to-son communication, the youth's low expectation of being a teen parent, and their mother's high education. Brazil's campaign carnival, conducted by the Brazilian Ministry of Health, develops other campaigns such as the World AIDS Day to increase AIDS awareness and promote condom use. This particular carnival campaign that was conducted in 2003 targeted all youth, but focused on females between 13 and 19 years old due to an increase of new AIDS diagnosis in that age group, which surpassed boys in that same age group. The communication media used showed that television was the item that was most viewed, followed by posters. Kelly Key is a best-selling pop music artist in Brazil, and she appeared in a Condom Carnival television advertisement. She's walking through a pharmacy, and she finally asks, "Where are the condoms kept?" The merchants, two male merchants, are wondering if she's looking for lip gloss or something of that nature. The commercial did not escape controversy. The following slide's contents contains verbatim correspondences that were too compelling to edit. A non-governmental organization's manifest, these are businessmen in Brazil, and I'll just read the bold part. The image of Kelly Key proposes a pseudo-sexual freedom where men are oppressed and women are the oppressors. We believe this is not an adequate proposal for men and women who want a more equal and respectful society. The Brazilian Ministry of Health's reply, the successes of Kelly Key is due to the fact that her discourse is very close to the aspirations of young Brazilian women. The choice of Kelly Key was based on technical criteria. Women's vulnerability to the AIDS epidemic is related to the fact that they are subjected to men's decisions. The television broadcast of the Carnival campaign had the best performance in presenting one of their central messages, and that's that young women need to purchase condoms and should not be ashamed when they do it. Evaluation of the campaign's effects. In response to the question, do you think that buying condoms is the responsibility of men or women? Both men and women's responsibility was 84%. Women's only was 2%. The last two responses showed that women felt that they should participate in having condoms available. Brazil's ecological approach is universal health care. In 1988, Brazil became one of the first countries in Latin America to make access to health care a constitutional right by the establishment of the Unified Health System, widely known by its Portuguese initials, the SUS. In conclusion, our environment influences our behavior, and in turn, our behavior influences our environment. Surveys conducted are often based on self-reporting of behaviors. This means that experimenters have to rely on the respondents' honesty. As for Brazil and everywhere else, intent to purchase condoms and the ability to purchase them, especially if they're not free, may be a challenge. And while there are decreases in HIV infections, several other STD rates are increasing. I thank you for your time.